My name is Joshua Clark. This is my Disposition to Teach video presentation for Sec-201 Early Adolescent and Adolescent Psychology at Grand Canyon University. I feel I possess all the professional dispositions of learners. I have high expectations of all of my students. I own an archery school, and all of my kids, I have high expectations because I feel even if I'm expecting them to be in the top 1% and they fall short and land in the top 5% of all archers competing, they will still be better than 95% of the archers out there. I believe this will also correlate with grades and academics as well. Every child is different, whether it be different races, different sexual orientations, religious beliefs, or sexual preferences. We cannot try and hinder them for any reasons we do not agree with. I feel like I'm very fair. I do have times where I get frustrated, such as like at my retail job. I have people I know every shift are going to mess up. And while I try not to hold it against them, I do tend to get aggravated by the end of the shift just because I'm having to just keep going over there and doing stuff that I know they could do and should be more than capable of doing. I also hold myself to high expectations of personal conduct. I always try to be proactive in the community and go above and beyond to be a good role model for all my students. And doing so, being a good role model, one thing that I try to do too is always reflect on myself and try to figure out what I could do to better myself, what I can do to be a better role model for the kids. One thing you've got to be prepared for when dealing with kids is getting lots of questions. Lots of questions. I always encourage kids to ask questions. I also work at a school as a teacher's aide. I love getting asked math questions mainly because that's what I just love to do is math, just because much of the math can be taught in different ways, while the lower level math really can't be, like adding, subtracting. There's only really a few ways to dip into that, but when you get into the kind of the upper level math, there's just so many ways and so many different methods you could use to solve and get your answer. I also feel that I'm very honest. I pride myself on it, actually. The phrase cheaters never win and winners never cheat come to mind. I've been in competitions with archery where people cheated their way to get there and were blowing me out of the water, and then when they weren't able to cheat by doing what they'd been doing that whole time, their scores just were not good, and I blew them away by a landslide. Another one of the dispositions that I feel I have is compassion, just compassion for others. I believe it goes back to the belief that teachers who care more get better results than teachers who otherwise are just drawing paychecks. I think we've all had that teacher that just doesn't want to be there. They've hit tenure. They're just ready for retirement and don't want to do anything. And those teachers, tend to get not as good results. Also, dedication is one of the dispositions I feel like I have. When I first started my retail job 6 years ago, I worked just as hard as I would if I was getting paid $20 an hour. It didn't matter. I was going to put forth every bit of effort that I have. And I believe as educators, we should all stay up to date with the professional dispositions, but also have good ethics and be every student's number one supporter. As teachers, I feel like we were responsible for much of the adolescent psychological and moral growth because we were with them so much. If it is a bad teacher who is against the child or unmotivated teacher drawing a paycheck, this will have a negative influence on the child. I will make sure I stay up to date on all the laws, code of ethics, and relevant laws and policies. Many of the policies and laws are straightforward. I feel like information is confidential to the students, and it is, and the students' well-being and education should be your number one concern. That's going to be, we just got to be their biggest advocate. And I will try to make my classroom feel like a community where the kids can just have a safe place to express themselves and just feel comfortable, because if they're not comfortable, they're not going to be learning. Thank you.